Before we start the history on Zenki, my S14, basically just going to clear things up with the drift car. So the SIL80, the drift car, it's at the tuners at the moment. It is not playing ball. I'm actually fucking devastated. The fact that I've just spent so much time and so much money and how long I've spent trying to build this car to the way I want it, to just have even the smallest thing go wrong is just, I'm just quite upset. So it's weird, you know, one day I did actually think, fuck it, that's it, I've had enough, I'm sick of this, sick of wasting all my time, all my money, I'm just going to sell everything. And then the next day I decided to get some motivation together to work on my S14. Some of you may know I've probably owned this car for about 5, maybe 6 years now. And I've probably driven it for about 6 months in those 5 or 6 years. So it spends a lot of time on the road. It's still registered. It's very expensive keeping a car that you don't drive at all registered. A little bit of a history on it. It basically started life as a pretty stock street car. Had a big turbo, external gate, lowered rims, standard street car stuff. I got my hands on it, I lowered it more, put different rims on it. It was a really laggy setup. It made a lot of power, but it wasn't usable. So I spent a lot of time and effort. We went to a smaller rear housing, did lots of little tricky things, and it actually made 50 horsepower less, but it was much more drivable. And was to be a street track car. It was good. Had it on the road for about a month. Everything was running pretty sweet. We had to put in a new clutch because the old one couldn't handle the actual decrease in power, which was really weird how that worked. So I got a twin plate, and then we went to one of my very first track events. So we went all the way down to Collie, 3 hours away. And after 8 laps, I broke third gear. 2 laps later, fourth went. It also didn't want to go into reverse. And it also kept spitting out front main seals. Upon like pulling the motor out and investigating later, it was getting really weird wearing on the first crank cap. So something wasn't quite right with the harmonics of that motor. I then bought some stupid oversized wheels for it, and then it sort of snowballed around trying to fit those wheels. And then the car looked pretty sick, but then everything else just kind of wasn't up to scratch. So we did the tubs, we did all the paint, we did the interior, we did just everything absolutely overkill. And then I went to go finish it. Now this has happened twice now. I went to go finish this car, put the motor in, get the motor built, just fucking get it out, get it back, come to me fucking running, ready to go. And I lost my job twice. Now this happened in the space over 2 years, and that's pretty much the reason why it's just spent so much time off the road. I get so close to finishing it, and then just shit happens. I guess one of the perks of working in the construction industry, and then when you spend all your money and you lose your job, you kind of think you're a bit of a fuckhead. So this hasn't really happened with the SIL80. Funds are a little bit tight because they overstretched, but you know, it's all good. I'm just fucking devastated. I was supposed to be putting it together, painting the final panels and really just getting it ready. We were supposed to get it logbooked today. There's also a private day that I did get invited to. I wanted to go get some shakedown done on it if it was finished. So I don't know, I don't really care. Fucking they can have it, you know, buy it cheap. Anyone cheap, 10 PM. I'm only joking. I'll probably fall back in love with it once it comes back from the tuners and it's running. Meantime, I'm going to get onto the S14 because I do need to finish it. What I'm going to do with it when it's finished, I have no idea. It was sort of built to be an all-round, you know, drift, drag, circuit, street, show, burnout. It will do them all, and it'll do them well. But there's just a few things to finish off cosmetically that I'm not really happy with. Pretty sad at how close this car is to being finished. You know, we need intake and exhaust manifold, a clutch, and that's it. You know, all the other little bits and pieces, you know, there'd be some pipe work and just finishing off a few things, but that's realistically it. Got the motor, I've got the box, I've got fucking everything else is here, ready to go. That's how fucking close I was to finishing this car. Motivation hits you when fucking something doesn't go wrong and you've spent so much time and money, and it just seems to keep fucking happening. So hopefully we'll get some good news with the SIL80. obviously make a video, update everyone on how that's going once it's finished, whether it blows up and I sell it is another thing. So yeah, we'll just start looking into what I plan to get done today, where we're at, and yeah, if you guys want to see some more on this, I can do a full feature, maybe give it a wash, because it's pretty fucking dirty. I'm sitting around for so many years not doing fuck all. Wide body, bam! So you may be wondering what the fuck is going on here. This is the driver's side. So there's a fuel cell in the boot, and going for that sort of ultimate clean street car look, I decided to bog up the factory fuel flap. Now it worked, it came out sick, everything looks sweet. However, I'm not sure if you can tell, that's quite a wide body. They're a 50mm over fender. In order to fit the wheels, we had to bow it out to 100mm. So once that bowed out, it cracked. What I should have done is obviously bowed it and then bogged it up. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to clean it all up and start smoothing that out. It's a good thing that sort of did crack, is because my fucking old boy, I'm not sure if you can see that there, and that one there, this was freshly painted, just finished. It was painted off the car, and he's gone and put these scratches in. So this whole car has been rubbed back and polished up. There's still a bit too much peel in it for my liking, but after, yeah, we couldn't quite get those out, so it'll be good to respray those fuckers. The over fenders are riveted on. So about 4 years ago, this was pretty much how everyone riveted. Everyone did over fenders, was rivets. So we're going to drill that out both sides. We're going to replace it with nut certs. So it just makes it a lot easier. Rear bumper is going to get some nut certs. Side skirts, again, are going to get some nut certs. It just makes it a lot easier, especially being a street car, for removal. It's going to be a bit more rigid than the cable tie setup that I usually have going on. I'm going to do some trimming on the front fenders. The big wheels don't quite like this factory mold, so that's another reason why we're going to have to bang some nut certs about there. Now, these front fenders are both going to come off, and they're going to cop a respray as well. Let's see if you can see it. The dust is masking it pretty well, but you can probably see it there. Yeah. Now these are genuine D-Max. The fact that they have spider webbed out and stress cracked and is a bit disappointing. So they're going to come off. We're also got to fucking trim off a little bit there. I'm going to take a bit out here and here of the front bumper as well, just to allow for clearance, because they are big boy wheels up front. And then those three panels are going to get repainted. So moving on to the interior, I got this one in the other night. Bride seat on an actual rail, and it's got the slider in it as well. Basically just a street car, they need to go backwards and forwards. The back seats probably don't really need to be accessed on a car like this. But yeah, they had to, the rails had to be modified to suit the bride, so I'm just doing the passenger seat at the moment. As you can see, fitment is pretty tight, so we do need to make some clearancing issues disappear. So yep, just finished drilling some holes to suit the brides, so we can chuck this bad boy back on the rail and then get it back into the car.
Darling, you send me, I know you send me, darling, you send me, I know you send me, darling, you.
Of course they don't go in first try, because it's just a cheap, badly produced mass-produced seat rail that doesn't even line up properly. So we're gonna have to do a few mods. Why is my hair going all fucking... So I forgot I had these. I found them basically in Zenki's junk. They're just some spares that I picked up a while back for the SIL80. So this is like primo. Nobody wants them. They look pretty gay. But you hit them with some red and they actually turn out sick. So while we've got a bit of free time, might as well prep these up so that these are all ready to go when we do cave in that rear end.
Send me, darling, you. Send me, darling, you. Send me, you. Send me, you. Send me, darling, you. Send me, I know you. Send me, darling, you. Send me, I know you. Send me, honest to you. Send me.
As you can see, with the big wheels, we pretty much do need all this clearance. I've had to cut this in and out a couple of times now, so yeah, over fenders do its job, and then we can't really use this in here because we needed the clearance anyway. That's what happens when you run ultra low. Now it's time to, now we've got to drill these guys out and put some nutserts in.
Send me, I know you do. Send me, I know you. Send me, honest you do.
So we've got a few nutserts in now in most of the crucial places. We have run out, so this is probably about as far as we're going to get on this. And it does look like it has bowed itself back into place. Obviously, these are drilled in specific points to bow the fender, so once they're all back in, it should theoretically bow. I haven't quite decided how I'm going to go about this. Like, there's obviously heaps of flex in this bit of fiberglass. Maybe I just need to use some fiberglass bog instead. I can't remember, it was that long ago what I used, but pink stuff to me kind of suggests just normal car bog. That way we can take it on and off and it won't crack again, or I can just wait, re-nutsert all these, and we'll bog it up once that's in place, and then I can paint this panel on the car, and then we definitely won't have any issues until we got to take it off, and then we'll see what happens. Obviously I'd like to do it right the first time around, so I might look into some super flexible bog just for that section, because this is going to come on and off a couple more times, because Matt's got to get in there and he's going to weld in some infill panels eventually once we get this car finished. But yeah, for now we'll just move on to the front fenders. As you can see, these are now finished. I reckon they turned out pretty sick. It's hell good how just some simple red can completely change the look of those ugly ricer lights. And these ones being all chrome just look that much better. And as you guys can see, got both brides in now, so they're all mounted. Everything works, everything's legit. Just another thing ticked off the list. And that's pretty much where we're going to leave it. I would say that was a pretty successful weekend, got lots done, so who knows, maybe the next one we might have the SIL80 out of the tuners and we can talk about that. But until then,